As I walk through a quiet neighborhood on the way to my apartment, I think back on the horrible day that I just had. I'm still fuming at how Mr. Porter somehow thinks that all the fights I've gotten into with Mike are my fault. Every single one of those fights happened because Mike was saying or doing something to me, and I would just try to stand up for myself but end up getting beaten up for it. It's not like I enjoy getting into fights, but I have to stand up for myself. And honestly, sometimes it's hard to ignore some of Mike's comments, considering he knows exactly what to say to get under my skin. The street that my apartment building is on comes into view. It's easy to notice considering every apartment on the street is run down and in dire need of renovation. I turn a corner and can see my apartment building further down the street. I try my best to keep my mind off the conversation I had with Mr. Porter, but with nothing else to distract me as I walk, it's pretty much all I can think about. Knowing that Mr. Porter would tell my mom about all the fights I've been getting into at school if Mike and I fought again terrifies me way more than the thought of getting suspended. My mom is doing far better than she had been during those weeks when she was too depressed to take care of herself. But I think that knowing how well I'm doing is a big reason for that. If she learns about all my fights at school, I have no idea how that might affect her mental health, nor do I want to find out. My apartment building is only about 100 meters away now, and even though the building is old, ugly, and run down, the familiarity of it still helps clear my head a little. With this clarity, I realize that the solution to this problem I'm facing is pretty simple. I have to stop fighting Mike. I've tried ignoring Mike in the past, but he always manages to figure out exactly what to say to get a rise out of me. Well, now I have no other choice, because if I can't ignore him and walk away, my mom will suffer for it, and I am not going to let that happen. As I reach the door to my apartment and unlock it, I actually smile, because I'm confident that I'll be able to ignore Mike from now on and not get into any more fights. This smile only widens as Boxer rushes over to me the second I open the door. After I give him some ear scratches, I step out of the way so he can run outside to the small park across from the apartment to use the bathroom. I set my backpack on the couch and look around the apartment. My mom won't be home from work until tonight, so like usual, I have the apartment to myself and an entire evening to kill. I figure I can either hit the gym and work out or just stay at home and do nothing. This isn't exactly a tough decision considering home is a lot closer and I hate working out. So, before I know it, I'm sitting on the couch playing Minecraft on my Xbox. Since money is so tight right now, I had offered to sell my Xbox a few different times to help pay for some of our bills. My mom refused every time I offered because she knows that I love playing video games. I am honestly grateful that she didn't accept my offer, but I also feel guilty about it. After I let Boxer back inside, I end up spending the next few hours playing video games. I only take a break to feed Boxer and make myself a healthy meal of microwave leftover pizza, which I eat as I continue to play. Once I finish eating, I wash my plate in the sink and decide to actually do something productive and take Boxer for a walk. However, as soon as I clip his leash on, I look outside and see that it had started to rain. Since neither of us like going out in the rain, I end up watching Netflix for the rest of the evening with Boxer asleep at my feet. I had just finished watching my 7th episode of Brooklyn Nine-Nine when I hear the apartment door unlock. I quickly pause my show and see that it's just after 9:30, the time my mom usually gets home when she works at the sports bar. My mom walks into the apartment looking exhausted, but tries to put on a happy face when she sees me.
Hey Josh, how was your day?
She asks as she sits down beside me. Good. How was yours? I reply, trying not to sound like I'm lying when I tell her that I had a good day.
Long.
She responds while yawning. It sounds like it.
Yeah.
She says.
And I hate to do this since I just got home, but I think I'm going to go straight to bed.
No, that's fine, I say. You've had a long day and you should get some sleep. She smiles.
Thanks, sweetheart. By the way, I won't be working at the bar tomorrow evening, so I'll be here when you get home from school.
Awesome, I respond, actually excited because it seems like I never get to spend time with my mom anymore.
Anyways, I'm gonna head to bed now. Good night.
She says. Night, I respond as she walks down the hall and into her room. When she leaves, I unpause my show and watch it for another hour. Even though watching TV usually always cheers me up, I'm distracted as I watch it because I can't stop thinking about how tired my mom must be working 2 jobs from 9 in the morning until 9 at night. She's working herself to death, and yet we are still hardly getting by. More than anything, I want to help, but I have no idea how I can. I shut off the TV and quietly get up from the couch. Boxer is still snoring at my feet, and I don't want to wake him up, so I gently step over him. I walk to my room feeling disgusted with myself that I had spent the entire evening doing nothing while my mom slaved away at her 2 jobs. She had been more than clear this morning that she doesn't want me getting a part-time job and helping her with the bills. But there has to be something else that I can do to help with our money problems. As I close my bedroom door behind me and shut off the light, I wish once again, for the millionth time since the crash, that my dad was still alive. It isn't fair that on top of losing my dad, my mom and I have to be constantly stressed about our financial situation. I take off my glasses, crawl under the covers, and feel a lump forming in my throat as I fight to hold back the tears. As easy as it would be to just bury my head in my pillow and cry myself to sleep, I refuse to tonight. I'm sick of being sad, I'm sick of feeling sorry for myself, and I'm sick of feeling like I'm letting my mom down by getting into all these fights with Mike. Tomorrow, things are going to change. That night, I have a deep, dreamless sleep, which is unusual for me. I felt like I could sleep forever, until I suddenly get the feeling that I'm outside in the pouring rain. Slowly, I open my eyes to the steady dripping of water hitting my forehead. It only takes my half-asleep brain a few seconds to realize that the water is coming from the exposed pipe above my bed. It then hits me that the reason why I'm feeling that water is because I forgot to set an alarm last night and now I'm running late. I jump out of bed and am immediately hit with a burning pain in my back. Despite how horrible yesterday was, the one thing that I had been thankful for was that my back hadn't been sore at all, so I didn't need to take any of my painkillers. Well, it seems like my back had decided to be twice as sore today to make up for yesterday. As I slowly make my way to the bathroom, I grit my teeth to keep from loudly grunting in pain and waking my mom up. I turn on the shower, and as it gets hot, I grab an orange bottle of pills that I always keep on the bathroom vanity. Although I'm not able to read the description on the bottle without my glasses, I know that it contains my prescribed painkillers. I quickly swallow 2 of the pills and hope that they kick in soon because the hot water was about to make my back pain even worse. The second I step into the shower, the hot water feels like acid on my back and causes my entire body to tense up as I try to keep from screaming out in pain. I have no idea why some days I hardly notice my back pain, and then others, like today, it's so bad that I feel like throwing up. When I was in the hospital right after the crash, the doctor had told me that my back pain should reduce over time. But much like the memories from that night, my back pain continues to bring me to tears almost every single day. The only good part about the pain is that it encourages me to take a quick shower. Once I get out of the shower, I walk into my room and am hit with a scent that I haven't smelled in the morning in a long time. Pancakes. Since I'm not cooking them, and I'm pretty sure Boxer doesn't know how to turn on the stove, that could only mean one thing. I can't help but grin as I excitedly get dressed and put on my glasses. However, as soon as my glasses are on, I find myself once again staring at the framed picture of my father and I, and my grin instantly disappears. I have always secretly kept the picture there to remind myself that I was a failure because I hadn't been able to pull my father out of the truck before it exploded. But as I now look at the picture, I think about how I'm still a failure. My exhausted mother is out in the kitchen right now making me pancakes, even though she's probably stressed out of her mind about finding a way to pay for this month's rent. And I still have no clue how I can help her. Before I even realize what I'm doing, I open up the frame, pull out the photo, and hold it out in front of me. I carefully move my thumb along the small cracks that had formed in one of the corners, which reveal the age of the photo. As I look at the image of my father staring back at me, I remember how last night I decided that I was done feeling sorry for myself, and I meant it. Dad? I say to the photo, but really, I'm speaking to my father. I promised to stop getting into trouble at school, to figure out a way to help Mom with her money problems, and to make you proud. Instead of setting the picture back in the frame, I decide against it and put it in my back pocket. I know that if I'm aware that the picture is always with me, it'll help me keep my promise. With the picture now safely stored in my pocket, I walk out of my room and into the kitchen to find my mom making pancakes with Boxer sitting happily at her feet. "Good morning," I say as I sit down at the table. She turns and smiles at me, but it seems like she's forcing the smile in order to hide how she's really feeling. However, I'm so excited about her making me pancakes that I can't see past her smile.
Morning.
She says to me,
I made pancakes.
"Chocolate chip?"
Of course.
"Awesome," I say as she sets down a plate of pancakes in front of me and passes me the maple syrup. As I drown my pancakes in syrup and begin eating, my mom fills up Boxer's dish. With Boxer now happily chowing down on his food, my mom takes a seat across from me. I look up from my pancakes and I'm about to let her know just how good they are, but I finally notice the look on her face that tells me something is bothering her. "Is everything okay?" I ask her. She meets my eyes for a second before looking back down at the table.
Well, I actually had a very surprising phone call this morning before you woke up.
My heart jumps into my throat. Mr. Porter said that he wasn't going to call her unless I got into another fight, but apparently he was lying. I try my best to act like nothing is wrong as I continue to eat my pancakes. Really, what was the call about? She takes a deep breath and then looks up from the table to once again meet my eyes. I instantly notice the look of disappointment written all over her face, and I try to prepare myself for what she's about to say next.
I called your boxing coach even though you told me not to because I hate seeing you covered in bruises. I was just going to ask him to hold back on your training a bit.
She pauses.
But he told me that you quit boxing months ago.
Although she catches me completely off guard by asking me about boxing, I'm mostly just relieved that she still doesn't know about the fights at school.
Josh,
She continues.
why did you quit? And why didn't you tell me?
I take a deep breath. I'm thankful that I had prepared what I would say if this conversation ever happened. The truth is, Mom, I never really liked boxing that much. I just did it because Dad loved it. Then after he died, I tried to keep boxing, but it just reminded me too much of him and I had to quit. I'm really sorry. She stays silent and just stares at me from across the table, looking like she's about to start crying any second. I didn't tell you because I didn't want you to be disappointed in me. She now actually does start crying. I watch as she gets up from the table and walks over to me to wrap me in a hug.
Oh, Josh,
She says with tears in her eyes.
I could never be disappointed in you. I will always be proud of you, and I know your father would be too.
I try my best to blink away my tears as my mom pulls away from the hug. She wipes away her tears as I finish the rest of my pancakes. As soon as I take my last bite, my mom clears away my empty plate and carries it over to the sink to wash it. While my mom does the dishes, I head over to the couch and grab my backpack. I had just finished double checking that I had all the books I needed when my mom finishes the dishes and walks over to meet me by the door.
And Josh,
She tells me.
I just want you to know that even though sometimes it doesn't seem like it, I promise that I can handle anything. So please don't keep things from me anymore. Okay?
I didn't think I could feel any worse about all the fights I've gotten into at school, but now I do. Okay, Mom. By the way, I'll be going off grounds today. I tell her, anxious to change the subject, so I won't be needing a lunch.
All right.
She says.
Do you need any money?
No, I'm good, thanks. I have my wallet. She smiles at me, but her expression suddenly changes as her eyes move to one particular spot on my face. Too late, I realize that she was looking at the bruise on my jaw that Mike gave me.
Josh,
She says slowly.
if you didn't get those bruises in boxing practice, then where did you get them?
I begin to panic because I have no idea what to say. I just stare at her, trying to think of a response, but she unfortunately puts the pieces together before anything comes to mind.
Are you getting into fights at school?
I slowly start to backpedal towards the door. Look, Mom, I'm gonna be late for the bus. Can we finish this talk when I get home? She looks torn between her curiosity of what was going on with me at school and not wanting me to be late for the bus. After a brief pause, she says,
Go. We'll continue this conversation after school.
I walk out the door as quickly as I can without looking suspicious. As I make my way to the bus stop, I can't help but feel terrible about how badly I messed up. My mom said that she would always be proud of me, but how will she feel when she finds out about all the fights that I've gotten into at school? She will find out, that much I know. She'll call the school and talk to Mr. Porter, and even though he said that he wouldn't call my mom and tell her about the fights, I know that if she calls him and asks, he'll have to tell her. I shake my head and hope that I'll be able to think of something to say to her before I get home. I arrive at the bus stop and try to keep my distance from the other kids. I look down the street and see my bus coming, and the second I lay my eyes on it, the truth hits me like a brick. Before he spoke to me yesterday, Mr. Porter had interviewed some of the kids who go on this bus when he heard about the fight, and they all lied for Mike and told Mr. Porter that I was the one who started the fight. This means that I am truly alone on this bus because none of those kids defended me. Even worse than that, Mike probably heard that if I get into one more fight, then I'll be suspended from school. I know that the first chance he gets, he'll make that happen. The bus stops in front of us, but I wait for the other kids to get on first. I try to mentally prepare myself for seeing Mike again and hearing all his insults. He will stop at nothing to get me to fight him, but I have to ignore him. With all the other kids now on the bus, I take a deep breath and walk up the steps. I keep my head down low, put in my earphones, and try to tune everyone out. I can feel everybody staring at me as I walk down the aisle to find an empty seat, but I don't pay them any attention and instead focus on my music. My curiosity finally takes over and causes me to look up and quickly glance around to see where Mike is sitting. However, I search every seat on the bus and don't see him. He isn't on the bus today. I see a bunch of other kids looking at me and grinning like morons as they think about yesterday's fight, but I couldn't care less about any of them. I sit down in an open seat and spend the entire bus ride listening to my music and staring out the dirty window, hoping that for some reason, I won't have to go home and face my mother's disappointment. Hello everyone, and thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this chapter, then please remember to leave a like on the video and subscribe to my channel. New episodes of Strength drop on Tuesdays and Fridays, but if you'd like to see the chapters early and support the channel for only $5 a month, then head on over to my Patreon page. Link is in the description. Also, you can purchase the full paperback novel on my website if you're in Canada, or on Amazon if you live outside of Canada. Thanks again, and I'll be back in a few days with the next episode.